Well, I'm just going to say it. I don't really care about your opinion. And that sounds pretty rude, doesn't it? Because everybody loves to share their opinions and they love to cut people off with their opinions and they like to repeat their opinions. There is something about opinion that just doesn't do it for me. It feels like it's a story made up in the head where we, of course, take sides, like we're right about our opinion and we share our opinion and, we're right about it. And many people actually like to get into some kind of arguments. Yeah, people like to argue. Now, I'm not one of them. I can't stand it. I think it's one of the most boring things to get into some kind of an argument or a debate, where you bring your opinions. I want to add to this, maybe a rude statement that I don't care about your opinion. I do care about your direct experience, your real experience, your yeah, what is true for you. So I do care about your truth. The truth is not necessarily your opinion. As I'm saying that, I think there's probably a lot of overlay. But what I'm trying to get to today is to find your truth or your experience in your opinion. I don't know if that makes sense. But when we just spew our opinions, and that is what I see happening. And honestly, I need to get out of here. I have nothing to add to this. All that happens when we share our opinions in the way that it is done is that nobody is really listening. Everybody's waiting for their turn to share their opinion. And it's just this whirl swirling around of words and emotions and righteousness. I know I've been talking a lot about this being right lately, and it is, of course, because I just see it in the world. I see it, among friends, my own circles, definitely social media, the news, YouTube. It's what we do. And as I'm saying that, when I say something like that, there's always a part of me that checks in with myself. I say, Pernille, are you doing that? And that's kind of how I always check myself to make sure that I'm staying in my truth. So my truth is I have no interest in it. And that is my experience, right? If I started saying something about, people should and it's not right and whatever, then it becomes more an opinion. It takes it from our experience up into the mind where the duality lives, where it starts. And then there's the right, wrong, good, bad, up, down. That is duality. That is the mind. And that is where all these opinions live. I'm not saying that you shouldn't like them, right? I'm saying I don't care much about it because it doesn't do anything for me. I don't feel nourished by it. I don't feel connected with other people when they're just spewing opinions. There's nothing satisfying in it, and except that I feel drained pretty quickly, which is not uncommon for sensitive beings. It's like, whoa. But then the flip side, of course, is if people share their experience, their felt sense, it's very beautiful. That's when I feel a connection. with people. And that is something that's important to me. Again, it may not be important to you, but that's something I thrive on. So as I'm speaking right now, I'm basically sharing with you what matters to me, what feeds me, what my experience is, what my truth or reality is. And it is totally fine for you to have a very different one. Many times when they're too different, then it might be hard to find some middle ground, except what I talked about the other day, that the middle ground is always that we really all want the same. But we're not going to find that in these kind of opinions. So the question is, like, why are people spewing around their opinions to everybody online, social media, the news, discussions? Why are we doing that? Why are you doing that? When I think back when I did get pulled into these arguments where it was opinion upon opinion, it was because there lived something in me still that was not healed yet, that didn't want to be made wrong, that wanted to be heard, that felt like when I expressed my opinion, that I was hoping to find some kind of a connection, but I didn't. Not to say that we can't. This is not a blank statement I'm presenting here, but I think what I really want us to just consider that when we come with our um, opinions that are often very emotional, what, why are you doing that? Is it satisfying? Maybe it is. And if it is, what part of you feels satisfied by sharing your opinions? If you're able to share your opinion and then also hear others' opinion, maybe for a reason, maybe to find some kind of a common ground or to learn from the other, then there is an openness to connect. I don't see that very often on, well, certainly politics, right? It's all just opinions and blaming. And the reason I'm talking about it a lot is because it's so destructive. It doesn't go anywhere. Nobody will be satisfied. You might find some like-minded people who have the same opinion, and then you can really feel good about it. And then because there is a connection, right? You feel connected about this same opinion. Can we cultivate the connection then? Is that connection only there when we have some kind of a strong opinion about it? I don't know. I'm not part of that league. I just don't enjoy it. And I find it so much more satisfying when people are able to really share their experience. As soon as that happens, it just feels like, oh, and even if that person's experience is very different from my own, there is a natural curiosity because they're not trying to, hammer an opinion onto me where they are right. I'm just wanted to meet the person underneath that and find out, like, wow, what is it? What is important to you about sharing this with me, for instance? That's not a common question, and people might, raise their eyebrows and say, what? But I do that because I don't know why all that information in the form of an opinion needs to be dropped onto me unless there is some kind of a reason for that, or some kind of a longing for something to happen. Maybe it is that, I feel that I agree with them and I feel right. And then there's the connection. But I would say mostly from my own experience, of course, that when we do these things, there is a natural longing for connection and belonging. It's very deep in our nervous system to belong, to connect. Can you feel that in yourself? Do you long to connect? And can you give yourself space for that and allow that longing to connect to really be felt, so that you first connect with yourself by connecting with the part that wants to connect, right? Instead of having an opinion and spewing it out there, hoping to have some kind of an agreement and that you'll connect. Instead, find out like what is really important about sharing my opinions in this way. Again, I'm not saying we can't share our opinions, that there's a place for that, I'm sure. But a lot of what I see out there today, and that's why I keep addressing it, is that it's just like this. And on social media, people just, if somebody posts something, then there's all these things like, and a few times I have just commented and say, what is the point of this post? And I don't really get a response, of course, but that is my curiosity. Like, what are you trying to experience? What are you hoping to experience when you just share your opinions, unless you're open to have some kind of a mature conversation about it, where you receive and you share and you hear and you listen and you share, because then there is a different energy to it. So maybe the title for today, that I'm not interested in your opinion, that is very true, just generally for me. But I am interested in your experience, in your truth, in what matters to you. And what matters to you? What are you hoping to experience that matters to you? If you're just sharing your opinion, what is behind that? And I do believe that questions like that can really help us along inside to start excavating all the mind stuff, because opinions are very much in the mind. And if we want to start living in a world that is based on oneness and peace and love and heart, we need to kind of let go of the mind, and opinions, a lot of opinions will go along with that. And then we can start seeing what is left when we're not doing this mind projection thing. Who's left? What is left? It's actually a very sweet little exercise, just to imagine, like, well, who am I? What is left when I don't go into my opinions, my often emotional opinions? If I just leave them, if I don't touch them, there's that not touching it. What is left?